Good afternoon and welcome to this Insurance Nexus webinar on improving online customer experience in claims. My name is Graham Proud, a project director at Insurance Nexus, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you today. Do come and find me on LinkedIn and stay in touch. I'm always happy to connect and engage with you online and really appreciate your thoughts on what is a very exciting industry at the moment. So we are all aware that investing in customer experience through new technologies and listening to the requirements of the modern customer is a key factor for any insurer wishing to differentiate their offering in what is an increasingly competitive market. And there are a number of ways in which insurers can improve the customer's experience in claims. The most obvious place to start is with the customer and their demands and truly understanding the customer and really listening to what they require and proving to be flexible in supplying this. So what are the customers shouting out about, or what do we as an industry believe the customer wants? Well, we can safely say that customers require speed. They require the ability to dictate lines of communication, whether that's through an app or not. They require simplicity. Crucially, this idea of simplicity seems to be key. An overly complex or troublesome customer experience leads inevitably to problems in retention. To simplify and provide a customer-first experience, how many times have we heard insurers issue this as one of their mission statements? It's no easy task, of course, but the rewards are great because in creating a streamlined service, scalable, personalized experiences are achievable and proven to drive business and satisfy customers. I think it's also worth noting that customer experience isn't just about a single interaction with the brand. A company must work to create a cohesive, omnichannel experience so that customers are pleased no matter how they connect with the company. Customer experience is a team effort after all, and everyone from the organization requires the tools to help customers. A cohesive digital experience means that no matter if it's on the phone or through an app, customers know that their insurer will always provide the same high quality experience. So there's lots to discuss within customer experience in claims and the potential that technology holds. Unfortunately for us, there is no one size fits all solution, but there are huge rewards for the insurers that get this right. So without further ado, I'd just like to pass you over to the moderator for the webinar, Eddie Longworth, Managing Director of GEL Consulting, who will be taking today's session. Eddie, over to you.
Thank you very much. Yes, my name is Eddie Longworth, and I've had the good fortune to be working in the claims consultancy field for the last 25 years and seen a vast number of changes during that time period. And we now seem to be at the crossroads of yet another change as the burgeoning insurtech community launches its disruptive activities in what is traditionally a fairly conservative sector. So I now want to move on to our speakers. My role is to listen carefully, as I hope you are as well, and then to make sure that your questions are asked and answered. So do please feel free to post any questions that you have at any stage during the next few minutes, or indeed at any stage during the seminar, so that we can see what you want to know about and we can make sure the questions are asked. So I'm going to turn to Manuela Pifani, who is the Managing Director of C Excellence, with a significant background in designing and redesigning the customer experience in the insurance industry and indeed outside this industry, which has some benefits to hear about as well. So Manuela, perhaps I can hand over to you now.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Eddie, and hello, everybody. Hope you're all enjoying this wonderful sunny weather. Certainly being Italian, I'm loving it. So this is really how I like it here in England. But anyway, let's get on with the webinar today. And yes, as Eddie mentioned, I am the founder and managing director of C Excellence Consulting, a consultancy that is very much built by me. My business background, I've been for 20 years in corporate roles, and I now want to put my experience and my skills to the service of other organizations to help them in their journey to transform the customer experience, but especially to achieve results from their customer experience efforts. My background is primarily in financial services, which is where I spent most of my corporate career. On the last 2 years, I spent it in retail though. And prior to that, I worked in the direct line group for over 4 years, where I was accountable for setting the customer strategy, improving customer experience, and generally building customer capabilities, with overall the mandate to realign the organization very much around the customer from the frontline level all the way to board level. So enough about me, let's come to the webinar today and to the topic of claims within the insurance sector and how they can be really transformed in today's environment. So first of all, it was again to restate that we all know that in the insurance sector, customers buy on price, yes, but also on trust. They need to trust the organization. But at the end of the day, they stay for the customer experience. And especially they leave the organization for the bad customer experience. So customer experience is that essential hook that really keeps the customer with you and drives that loyalty. Otherwise, insurance customers are fickle and they will just go for the next best deal just based on the price. So customer experience is absolutely essential to retention, and especially claims are the biggest moment of truth for customers. Even if in general only 1 in 10 customers have the experience of a claim, that's very, very important to really retain those customers through the delivery of a great claims experience. And when I was in the direct line group, we proved that promoters renewed at 85 to 90%, while persistency dropped to less than 30% for customers who scored 0 to 10 to the NPS question further to a claim. So the moment that the claim was not delivered in a satisfactory way, customers did not renew. So in order to really maintain that customer loyalty, claims are very, very important for insurance to achieve that NPS, but especially to achieve loyalty and maintain the value creation layer. Therefore, delivering good claims experience is very important, but even more important is avoiding getting into that deeply dissatisfied area, which is where the customer satisfaction crumbles the most. And when I joined DLG, we had generally reactive case-by-case file handling. We had unclear processes in claims, generally lack of handler accountability, and definitely no digital capability whatsoever to help with claim management. And this resulted in generally inconsistent customer experience, which was dependent totally on either the skills, experience, and attitude of the handler, or on the general circumstances of the claimant. So something that was not controllable at all. So working across the organization, we started with a number of tactical improvements to address the key drivers of that deep dissatisfaction. And generally, they were all related to the time and effort that customers had to go through to handle and log and fulfill their complaints. So we started working with the marketing teams to build better propositions with clear claim promises in terms of how long we would take to handle the claims, also what the customers could expect. We engaged the end-to-end supply chain behind the claims process to ensure that the end-to-end process was improved and adherent to better standards. And also we worked with operations in general. We trained the handler on better conversations and also introduced handler-level voice to the customer capabilities that enabled the handler to really understand how they were performing in their interactions with their customers. But in addition to these generally technical and organic improvements, we also started a strategic program to progressively introduce technology to improve key stages of the claim process. So we did a number of things across the years, from building digital capabilities to allow customers to provide evidence of the damage via smartphones, which made the FNO stages and the approval stages much faster. We introduced a service portal so customers could track the progress of the claim online, and also that enabled us to improve the communications with the customers on a two-way basis. We implemented a CRM system to drive better file ownerships, provide better MI, and also started the progressive automation of key transactional elements of the claim process, from FNO all the way to fulfillment and settlement. And this was through a combination of digital capabilities, process automation, AI, and connected technology. So really using the technology and automation in the right way really enabled us to make the processes much faster and easier, which resulted generally in a much better customer experience and also much better employee experience, as the handler were able to focus on the value-added elements of the claim process rather than transactional ones. And also, handlers were able to deliver much better service to customers, which resulted in customers' satisfaction, which also drove employee satisfaction as a consequence. So all this to say that claims are one of the few occasions when customers really have to interact with their insurance provider, and often they become horror stories of frustration and bad endings, and I've just experienced one of those myself. So digitizing claims can really offer the insurance a great opportunity to differentiate themselves in what I believe are in three key ways. Firstly, revolutionizing the way they can engage with customers. Secondly, simplifying processes. And thirdly, improving efficiency. So I want to spend a couple of words quickly on these three key topics. So starting with engaging customers. So this is kind of paradoxical in a sense. So online and self-service claim processes, at the end of the day, can strengthen the relationship with the customer. So whether it's done via app or via online portals, the interactions with the customers become quicker, easier, and more straightforward. And also, there's no need for the customer to make phone calls, waiting queues, and typically end up speaking with people who are not familiar with their file and therefore cannot help, which leads to being put on hold, transferred across, repeat calls, and generally loads of frustrations for customers and also for the handlers. So with automated capabilities, customer contact is no longer limited to agents reactively answering random customer calls or providing sporadic updates on progress, often after they've been chased, to be honest, by the customer. So to the contrary, customers can be engaged 24/7 with the progress of the claim and can co-own it very much with the handler in a continuous direct link between customer and insurance. So this makes it easier for the insurance to reach customers with automated updates, and also easier to add value to the customer through different types of value-adding content, which is related directly or indirectly to their claim, like providing useful links or videos or general advice to help customers handle their situation with the claim. So great benefit in terms of engaging customers overall. The second benefit is simplifying processes. So introducing automation and digitizing parts of the claim really helps with simplifying processes, but the important thing is not to delivering a digitized version of existing processes. This is a great opportunity to really take a step back and look at the end-to-end process and simplify it and streamline it from the customer perspective. So using design thinking and other agile design methodologies, it's a great opportunity to build seamless interactions, leveraging technology and automation to really simplify the overall process. And that's where technology can come to play and help in different types of ways. So for example, telematics and GPS also can be used after car crashes. This is something that we piloted also in the Direct Line group. Technology not only helps to provide detailed information about the driver's behavior and the overall circumstances of the crash, the location, but also results in a more accurate and fast response to the issue, and also to FNO, etc., with a less burden on the customer who's still shocked probably after the accident or the issue. Or similarly, data from other devices like smartphones, wearable technology, smart meters, or generally other connected household systems can be used very effectively in many ways to accelerate and simplify FNO processes and approval processes. So I can go on and on to show and describe the help of technology in simplifying the processes, whether it's customer driven by providing photo, video evidence, or whether it's led by the insurer. It can really shorten the amount of times it takes to log a claim, to approve it, and also to settle it, without often involvement on loss adjusters and unnecessary time delays. For example, in DLG, we also leveraged our extensive supplier network to integrate fast item replacement within hours. So the customer could have a replacement TV or replacement fridge or other household essentials in a matter of hours, thanks to introducing technology and leveraging our overall ecosystem in a more integrated way. So finally, improving efficiency. So technology and automation can really improve efficiency and accelerate the overall claim process because fewer resources are required, especially to process the low complexity claims, which allow people to be focused on more complex cases where they can truly add value to the customer and to the business in general. So for example, cognitive learning systems like IBM Watson can be used leveraging historical claims data to identify the critical factors that determine whether a claim needs to be paid out or not. So this technology is especially valuable for high volume, low value policy decisions, not for complex cases in general. And the insurer can really pay customers quickly and with minimal disruption, and certainly also with lower risk than using manual analysis and techniques. And cognitive systems can also reduce process duplication used within an ecosystem in claims which is highly fragmented, thinking about all of the parties which are involved in it. So cognitive system can form a general cognitive layer, linking legacy systems and suppliers, and generally reducing repetition of data entry, providing general updates end-to-end, and overall reducing time and processing effort which is invested at every individual stage of the claim. And also integrated machine learning can boost efficiency by providing more robust data on claims handling, better analytics processes, and generally therefore provide more line of sight to the total cost to serve, leakage costs, and all the other areas, enabling better management of expenses and overall combined ratios. So overall, a win-win for the business and the customer. So in summary, I really believe that introducing technology and automation at the right stages of the claim process can make them faster, easier, and painless for the customer, delivering therefore seamless and positive experiences. And also this demonstrates to the customer that the insurance is there at the right time to support the customer, and therefore really enabling the insurer to differentiate itself from many other providers that are still delivering painful experiences to customers. And my advice is that there is no need to wait for big transformational programs, but it's important to really start and test and learn, start testing new technology solutions, new ways of working in a very agile way, and progressively build it up. But also it is essential to start from the customer needs and rethink and redesign the end-to-end claim journey to introduce digital and technological solutions at the right time, not necessarily pushing everything to self-service and automation, but really introducing the right balance of systems, customer and agent interventions in what to make the claim process seamless and easy for customers and for the business. So that's it. Many thanks for listening.
Okay, that's terrific. Thank you, Manuela, and obviously a huge amount of work done in the background there at DLG. Just by way of summary, you did mention it right at the beginning of your presentation there. I mean, there is some skepticism, it has to be said, in the marketplace around the financial value of improving the customer experience. But you did talk about at the beginning of your presentation around some figures for retention and consistency of business. And I just wanted, for my benefit and for some people who have joined the seminar recently, perhaps you could just repeat that?
So yes, we demonstrated using our data that our promoters, so customers were promoters at the end of a claim, would then renew at the renewal window at an average of 85 to 90%, while these stats would drop to less than 30% for customers who at the end of the claim scored 0 to 3 to the NPS question. So really showing the massive gap between promoters and deep detractors, which insurer can quickly turn into bottom line pound coins, really.
Yeah, and I think that's a significant thing. None of us are in this business to do this because it's a good thing to do. I think insurers are clearly looking for a return on their investment, and it looks as though you've managed to achieve that for DLG. Yes,
indeed.
Okay. Thank you, Manuela. I'll come back to you in a few minutes' time. I'm now going to turn to Carsten Ralph. Carsten is head of customer and sales service for Ergo Group, with equally significant experience in the whole world of customer excellence. So, Carsten, perhaps I could turn to you for the next few minutes.
Yes, many thanks to Manuela and for you for the kind introduction. Yes, I was a manager with Bain and Company, and then I was heading the internal consulting unit at Ergo. Ergo belongs to the Munich Re Group, and we have a fine distinction at the moment for your background. So basically, we are basically a traditional insurer with more than 7,000 agents in the field. But also we introduced last season a pure digital player with Nexable, who is offering the digital solutions or insurances in Germany and now starting in Austria as well. So we have basically a mix of offerings, and also we have a online telesales insurer with Ergo Direct. So we basically have a vast combination from different backgrounds. But as Manuela, as you said full rightly, you need to come from the customer needs, and therefore we also experienced that we had I wouldn't say an issue, but we basically took a step back and we looked at customer journeys. That's nothing new, but I would rather use a different term. It's more than experience map, that we put the experimental or the experience of the customer first, which we probably haven't done so in the beginning, and try to find out if we now go into omni-channel experience. What do we really need to do? As you mentioned before in your first discussion point, all those new key technologies as virtual reality, data analytics, machine learning, IoT, they all don't come for free. This is why we basically started with pilots. But to start with pilots, we try to take a step back and see, okay, what can we do to find out what the customer really needs? Because many customer satisfaction surveys just fall short as they don't grasp the whole customer journey of in the case of an accident. Because as we found out, if there's an accident, the customer is really shocked, yeah, and so his thoughts are not, oh, what is about insurance? He thinks more about the police. How can I involve the police to avoid potential danger in the future? Yeah? And also they think about what kind of workshop my car will go. Yeah, and then basically what is the amount I am insured at? I am insured, and how will that work out? So, as a first key insight, that was actually if there is an accident, the insurance is not seen as a helper in an emotional context. So it's rather the shock. So that is, and coming back from where we are coming from, most of our customers, of course, contact us by phone. Yeah. And why do they do it? They contact us by phone when we have a good availability. And if our agents have competency and if they are calm, yeah, and if they also provide the structure to the people who are in an injured situation. And for us, at least for our original insurance business, we of course use the availability of a phone to provide a better steering to the workshop. We steer the customer because another aspect we found out that providing in customer with a certain workshop is not seen so positive. Yeah, it's rather limiting their ability. But as we all know, to have a certified workshop with negotiated rates is of course better for an insurer than if he can freely decide on what workshop he wants to go. So that was another key insight at that point, that the personal contact is still key for many customers. At the same time, of course, we need to develop, and we want also to develop in offering that they have a claim helper on a digital basis. Because as Manuela rightly pointed out, of course, if you are 24/7 available on a digital basis, and you can bring your customers to the point where they provide the notification on a digital way, of course, everything is more transparent for both sides, and you have the ability to maybe offer him, depending on the accident, a fair offer to regulate the claim by themselves. Yeah. So three distinct areas we offer on a digital basis customers. That is, of course, without cost, that we have basically a service for taking the car and bringing the car back to the customers. That we also provide in another car when the car is repaired. And that also seems interesting or relevant for customers that they get back a clean car from the inside and from the outside. And by the way, we did this all by implementing more than 10 focus groups and bringing the customer back to the situation when an accident happened. And then basically having each time 10 customers who had accidents, and then basically bringing them out to deliver the messages and also to talk freely about the experiences. And why is that important? Because people who came to us via phone, they said, oh, they feel that the whole process is intransparent. Versus, as I mentioned, if you go on a digital, medium in Omnichannel, it is much better to get in contact, for example, via ClaimSpot or via mail, to give him the transparency he needs. Yeah? So therefore, it is important to offer the customer the ability, after the first touch point, different communication channels on his further customer journey. And afterwards, or after the basically the notification and getting into the process, we found out that giving the customer early payments based on the estimated amount of the damage has been seen very positive. Yeah. So therefore, we changed the process based on what we expect will be the potential damage and the potential amount. We already started with payments out early in the process. So because later on the real final, I would say, final calculation, or basically the final sum up of costs and has not been seen as so relevant in the process. Yeah. So positive emotions only occurred then, basically at the final ending of the process, basically getting back the repaired car. Yeah. So, and by taking basically away some of the hassles of early or late payments, we basically excluded problems in the process, and as well by using payment informations on basically on the banking statement as a further contact point, we also were able to improve the customer experiences. So summing up my statements, you have all those key technologies I mentioned, and you have to think about sensors, about telematics, about connected car, about smart technologies, intelligence, contracts you want to negotiate with your customers. Go back to the customer journey and really find out where the problems are in your customer journey along the different omni-channel options if you want to extend from the written and from the phone experiences with your customers, and then basically start with pilots and do testing with different options to find out how you can really improve your combined ratio in that instance. Yeah, so that was it for now. Many thanks.
Terrific. Thank you, Carsten. Carsten, can I just clarify if, like Manuela, you were able to compare sort of satisfaction performance or retention performance of claimants sort of before and after the changes that you've made? Have you noticed any significant difference or been able to measure any significant difference?
Yes, we measured a lower cancellation rate in that instance. But of course, a lower cancellation rate doesn't necessarily mean that you are better off in financial terms, because it still could be that you keep the wrong in parentheses the wrong customers. So basically, at the moment, we are really comparing in a very small segment. And by the way, as you mentioned it, as we talk about customer segmentation, and that with the help of data analytics, really go down now to small customer segments, look at their basically pattern also of accidents, and then think about how do we want to keep them, and how do we go about if we want to bring them to a higher premium? So to be honest, to say that has been financially successful, kind of difficult at the moment. But I'm happy to provide on a virtual base or on a later on your event the results on a small segment basis and how we basically came about if that has been profitable or not profitable. Yeah, because if you think about the model, it becomes really complex by time.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Carsten, and thanks for that offer. I'm sure the guys here will take you up on that. Perhaps I could just bring you both back in, Manuela and Carsten, on perhaps a little bit more detail. I mean, one of the latest advances is the increasing use of chatbots to certainly take electronic notification of claims, and in some instances, some insurers have gone all the way through triage and settlement of claims almost entirely via chatbots and then further automation. I just wondered whether any of you had got any experience of that, and if so, what your thoughts are. Manuela, perhaps I could turn to you first.
Yes, well, the claim process has got quite a large number of pretty much transactional steps, and that's where chatbots can be very, very useful to automate all of those steps in a very interactive way and in a conversational way that also feels natural from the customer perspective. So integrating chatbots with automation and potentially the whole FNO process could be simplified, fully automated, introducing the right balance of technological solutions. And customers are increasingly used to this kind of solutions online. There's many of them already used by a number of organizations online, and therefore there isn't no longer that barrier that potentially was a couple of or more years ago about, I'm talking to a robot. It's very much making it easy for the customer. The moment that you make things easier for the customers are generally happy. The key is to ensure that there is always a way out. So whenever something is not quite going to plan, in line with obviously all of the decisions built into the system, there needs to be a very easy and seamless way for the customer to be handed up to a person, to a human agent, taking it up from there. So again, a seamless transfer of both the customer and the data up to that point to a person to progress it through. So that really avoids any pitfalls and customers getting frustrated and really stopping the conversation and then starting again on the phone.
Okay, and Carsten, have you done any work there?
Yes, we are working with a chatbot basically in the front end, but it feels for the customer at the moment as he is still interacting with a real person in text chat, because the chatbot at the moment provides the answers for our agents. Yeah. So basically, the chatbot provides the best answer. So we improve the productivity of the agent. As for example, in claims, the answer and question rhythm is pretty much the same. Yeah. So we basically go after high volume transactions, as Manuela said, and basically by providing the answers from our agents and by the different questions of our customers, basically the chatbot learns. I would not say that this is artificial intelligence. It's more basically a learning from answers and questions. But the positive impact is, first, you ensure quality answers by your agents. You basically can give the customer the time he needs. Because basically it takes out the speed of the interaction as you might have on the phone, and maybe you forget anything, and you basically also can go back and forth. But the most important thing is, as Manuela said, is you always then have the chance to basically change to the phone. If you have identification issues, if you have legal issues to clarify at the moment, and if something doesn't, if you just can't continue the interaction due to the complexity via the chatbot / text chat. But as I said, you build up your dictionary of insurances, and this kind of dictionary helps you later on if you go on to speech technology, and you introduce then basically a speech robot into your agent line. This is what we are working on at the moment.
Okay, terrific. I mean, I know from my own experience that one of the areas that chatbots and to a certain extent RPA, robotic process automation, have perhaps not been able to tackle that successfully is the apparent complexity of would be it motor insurance, household insurance, insurance policies in general. I mean, Manuela, you talked earlier on about the need for simplification. Did you find that you needed to do any work on actually the policy itself, the policy wording or schedules, or communicating with customers, so that you can actually start to apply some of the new technologies that we've been talking about?
So yes, those were some of the more organic, increasing incremental changes that we made. Insurance is not easy for customers to understand, so demystifying and simplifying and translating it from the customer perspective is very important. So we worked a lot with marketing teams to really reward all of the documentation, and also digitally online to really improve and clarify and simplify also online, how we were describing and talking about our policies, but also introducing technology to help with that through videos that were explaining things in more simpler terms, and automated and reactive FAQs as well. So that's a very easy way. It's one of the first steps really that most insurers tend to do, to introduce technology behind FAQs to make them dynamic and turn them into more of a conversational solution rather than just a list of answers pre-cut and size fits all. So it's a combination of things that needs to be done, and it's not just one thing that can be introduced at one stage that will change the overall customer experience. And yes, indeed, very often the issues start up front when customers don't know what they're covered for, and the moment of the claim, that's where some of the issues fall through, and that's where the complexity of those conversations need to be carefully managed by the right combination and balance of digital automation and the actual human intervention.
Thanks for that. I mean, Carsten, have you found that there are any particular areas of the claims process that are particularly suited to sort of automation, RPA work, be it triaging or decision making or even settlement? Are there any particular areas that you feel automation has been particularly suited to?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things there. So, for example, provide you an example I elaborated on earlier. So, for example, the car is repaired. What we have changed, or what has then changed, is, and in the process, is basically to give the customer the ability to provide him a message, basically on his smartphone, and say, okay, the repair of your car has been finished, it is clean, it is ready for you, and then basically just a simple question: do you want that we bring the car to your home, or will you come personally to the garage or to the workshop and basically take it home? So it's a simple 0 or 1 message that is necessary. Yeah. So that is just a small example where you basically can do the digitalization or automation with an easy question, and you don't need a long email process, or you don't need to do a phone call in the interaction by that. But that's my first aspect. And the second aspect, I think really what is key is, I think which is challenging, really build up your own data analytics unit, yeah, which basically provides you with the detailed insights on certain questions or on certain topics. I know there are many providers out there who offer also the analytics capability, but we basically always, or for our pilot area, we basically compare the data analytics capabilities of service providers and of our own team to basically develop your own capabilities. Yeah, because I think that is key. Going forward in the claims process, as there's so much money involved to build up your own data analytics capabilities.
And Manuela, have you done any work on the RPA side of things that have helped you to improve the whole customer journey?
Sorry, on what side?
On the robotics, process automation. Are there aspects of the claims journey that you've been able to automate in the background to make it better for the customer in the foreground?
So yes, there's a number of opportunities in claims, also because very often claims categories are very different from each other, and therefore offer different types of opportunities. But some are not just automating processes, but they are really delivering a great customer experience. So, for example, when I was in the Direct Line group, Green Flag introduced digital and technology to really help make the rescue phase really easy, seamless, and immediate. So through technology and a combination of GPS and location devices and telematics, basically post the car crash, the system detected that there had been a car crash and was able to almost proactively handle the situation for the customer. So obviously the customer is shocked after a crash, and having that proactive help from the insurer really makes things so much easier, so much better for the customer. So obviously, if the customer has got the right type of policy that enabled the rescue to happen seamlessly and really fast, really anticipating the need for the customer to try and contact anybody, we were able to understand, to know in advance where they were and what happened. So telematics also understanding some of the dynamics of what happened and proactively make arrangements for the customer to be helped and taken wherever they were going to do, and linked to the motor policy also with our 7-day promise guarantee, the customer could have had his car back within 7 days. So a very easy, seamless rescue coupled with a fantastic car repair. So customer satisfaction on the back of these changes really skyrocketed very, very fast.
That's great. I mean, one of the areas I find most difficult to work with when I've been with my clients is whilst there's a theoretical commitment to technological improvement and certainly customer experience improvement, one of the difficulties or the internal barriers that I've met, and perhaps Carsten, you could have a think around this, is the way in which individual silos tend not to talk to each other. So claims are not necessarily talking to underwriting, we're not necessarily talking to sales and marketing, we're not necessarily aligning with what the actuaries want, and bringing everyone into the same space has proven to be quite a challenge. I mean, Carsten, how did that go in Ergo?
Yeah, it's an ongoing challenge. As you directly mentioned, it's about having a master data management and getting a 360 degree from a customer perspective and also from an agent perspective. By really introducing, I would say, overarching surfaces. So the first challenge here for us is, for example, to provide our agents with the right information. So basically, right away, about the cover situation, and then about the perspective of the customer. So basically, as you said, is it a good customer? Is it a mediocre customer from a customer value perspective? And therefore, basically, changing from a pure money perspective to a future lifetime perspective. So. Yeah. Basically, if you think about the claims ratio in the past, that might be one aspect. So basically, what we are testing is why I went back to the data analytics unit. Basically, what we are testing at the moment is enriching the data that has been displayed to our agents so far with additional data. To come up, basically, is it a high value customer, or do we basically try to serve on a lower cost basis? So basically, do we continue the interaction on a personal level, or do we really then try to steer him on a digital, more automated way of interacting? Up to the point where you basically decide on what kind of area do you want to split from your customer.
But you still sounds as though you're very much committed to a sort of omnichannel choice strategy, rather than forcing people down any particular line.
At the moment, we are pursuing the omnichannel strategy. Yes, because we believe, especially with also on the claims area, that our customers, but I have to say our customers are on average 55 to 60 years old, pursue a so-called hybrid way, so that they also want to have the personal contact or via phone, and also get more digital over time. So our strategy is basically on the broader sense on an omni-channel basis. For those customers who don't want to pursue it, we basically have a digital offering with Nexable, who basically where you have no possibility to interact on any personal level.
Right. So you offer that as well. You offer that as an alternative.
We offer that as well. Yes.
Okay. Manuela, is that something you looked at when you were at Direct Line as to whether you should have, single channel or omni-channel approach to customer journey?
Yes, definitely, and definitely the omni-channel approach was the main decision, because at the end of the day, different customers want to deal with things in different ways, and sometimes the same customer wants to deal with different situations in different ways. So one day they may want to speak to somebody because of, and the next day they're very happy to self-serve and do everything through digital and online. So offering that choice is very, very important. What is essential to do is educating customers, so bringing to them bringing to their attention the fact that there's a different way of doing it. So potentially, have you tried online? You can do this quicker, faster. So really encouraging them to use the digital channels if they want, without really pushing them down that route, unless you develop a very clearly digital-only proposition, which for certain
digital product, followed by digital claim,
Because for certain customer segments, that's absolutely fine, but you clearly package it as a digital-only proposition, really making it clear what that is, what that does do, and also what it doesn't. So you will not have access to a phone handle or whatever. So making that very clear, and that can be very successful, especially with younger generation or with certain types of customers for certain types of policies.
But coming,
okay. Please, Carsten, go ahead.
Add one topic. As you mentioned, and we come from our experience design, what we found out, for example, if you go the digital way, and you basically you use your data analytics capability and you come up with the estimated amount for the regulation, and you basically within seconds or minutes what kind of offer you will offer to the customer. So basically, we found out if we do it right away, the customer doesn't trust it. So basically, we now basically introduced a time gap, and which basically he finds more credible.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. Just a last sort of question then to both of you, and it's taking us right back to the beginning, which is that both of you have obviously been involved in quite substantial transformations within your respective organizations, and now, Manuela, you're working on a consultancy basis for your clients. But the question I'm always asked, and I'm sure you're asked as well internally, is, well, what is the resource challenge here? What I'm not expecting any figures from you, but clearly there is a substantial investment requirement, and that's got to be approved by someone. Someone's got to put their hand in their pocket and spend some money. So, Manuela, how have you overcome those issues?
So in my experience, certainly when I was at DLG, I really never had big budgets whatsoever, because at the end of the day, the majority of the work driven and encouraged and influenced by customer experience links to other initiatives. So we worked a lot with, with their claims operations teams, the other operations teams, with the marketing teams, with the digital teams, and integrated in their budgets, in their agendas, the customer experience lens. And so basically the customer experience improvement were being delivered together with the customer journey improvement, together and through the budgets of the other functional areas. So that's the best way of doing it, because that's where you can really drive overall benefits for the business and the customer in the best way.
So a very internally cooperative working model there. And Carsten, perhaps if you could just round us off for today by, talking us through the budgetary challenges that you might have had in ERGO.
Right. So I say I basically agree 100% with Manuela, at least the way we worked it out. Of course, it is about once, of course, the automation as one aspect, but the second is really you go out there, you say you want to do, you put out a digital ventures fund, so I would call it, or innovation management. So basically, it is about building up digital capabilities on machine learning, on artificial intelligence, on IoT, on data analytics. And then basically you basically provide an offering, and then basically the departments or the department heads basically, I don't want to say are forced, but you basically bring them together with a technical expert, and then you basically build the business cases on that topic. And it doesn't actually mean, because you cannot get for each business case a positive feeling or a positive sign at the beginning, but it's rather that you need to combine 10 or 12 different activities for a certain technology stream, and then basically get the budget behind it, how much you need.
Okay.
And this is how we propose.
If I can quickly add something to that as well. Again, I think the best way of going on about it is really starting small and testing and learning. In that way, the initial investment is not that extensive, and you can achieve very often an ROI pretty quickly that then pays for the next 3 iterations. Because introducing technology and digital automation capabilities in the right way really pays, whether it's by reducing, generally reducing cost and improving efficiency, which has got an immediate ROI benefit to it. And therefore, then you can invest those benefits into future development. So start small and test and learn.
Terrific. Well, thank you very much indeed, Manuela and Carsten. I'm sure the audience have appreciated what you've really given your time to get across to us all. So I have learned. I hope our audience has as well. And I'm just going to pass you back to Graham now, and we'll wrap up for today. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie, and another thank you to Manuela and Carsten too. Really interesting discussion this afternoon. I'd like to remind everybody, if you'd like to get in touch, I'm sure we're all active and using LinkedIn, so do find us on there. Otherwise, Manuela and Eddie, both running very interesting consultancies. Do Google them, get in touch if you've got questions. We're all interested in what's going on in the insurance industry at the moment and looking to push things forwards. The other point I would mention is that you can expect to see Eddie as part of the Connected Claims Europe meeting this autumn on the 29th and 30th of October. We'd love to see you there. Do check out the website to see what all of that is about, events.insurancenexus.com/Connected Claims Europe. We've got plenty of European insurers there discussing these issues and more around re-engineering the claims process, being customer-led and technology-driven, and we hope to see you there. Thanks very much for joining us this afternoon, and see you again soon.